Half an hour later, Sima Yu stepped back in fear as someone stopped before her. Who are you? Young lady, our second master asked for you. The man pulled a scary face. Who is your second master? I don't know him, I'm not going. Sima Yu said as she walked past him thinking to leave the alley. The guy flashed and blocked her way again. Young lady, our second master said that he has a silver water plant on hand. 10 minutes later, Sima Yu was standing before Second Master Tao. Second Master Tao looked upright, but that pair of eyes that examined her made her feel uncomfortable. Sima Yu was embarrassed and asked, you have the silver water plant that is 200 years old with you? Second Master Tao was still examining her. She looked beautiful with a nice body that made others want to grope her. That slim and small waist attracted him so much that he became more excited. Especially that pair of pure eyes, she must be well protected by her clan. From top to bottom, head to toe, every part of her was his type. What is your name? He didn't reply to her but asked a question instead. I'm Sima Yu. Sima Yu replied. You're a foreigner? Sima Yu nodded. Why did you come here? Are you here to attend the Crimson Pearl Convention? No. Then why did you come here? My father suffered serious injuries from being beaten. The physician prescribed a medication that includes a very important medicinal ingredient, and that is the 200-year-old silver water plant. I heard that only Lost Place has it, so I came here secretly. Sima Yu answered honestly. Why do you have to do it secretly? Because my mother said that Lost Place is a very dangerous place that no one would be able to return to if they came here. She said she will send someone else to come. But I came here secretly because I'm worried for my father. With that said, nobody in your clan knows that you're here? Sima Yu shook her head. Second Master Tao tapped his finger on his chair as Sima Yu found it exceptionally irritating. Ling Yu loved doing that, it looked nice when he did it, but when this person did it, that hand and action became ugly. You've been looking for medicinal ingredients when you came here? I met Uncle Gua after that. He heard about my story and told me that he will bring me here, saying that this was the biggest medicine store and I'll be able to look for the medicinal ingredient that I needed here. Sima Yu huffed a long sigh. I should have been to the Tao clan's medicine store yesterday. It was here yesterday, but there wasn't any more today. Are you close to the Gua clan? Second Master Tao asked slowly. No, they're only helping me. But my mother always told me that the outside world is dangerous and asked me not to believe anyone. Although I'm very grateful to them, I'm not close to them. Sima Yu continued, I've replied to all your questions. Do you really have the silver water plant? Second Master Tao smiled as he saw the gullible eyes of Sima Yu. He thought that she should be guarded against others, but she easily disclosed her information to a stranger. This person was indeed naive. I do have the silver water plant that you want. Really? Will you let me have it? I'm willing to buy it at a high price. Second Master Tao stared at her and said, do you know who I am? Sima Yu shook her head. She thought to herself, I wouldn't tell you even if I knew. I'm the second master of the Tao clan. Sima Yu blinked her eyes were obviously saying, was that a high status? The patriarch of Tao clan is my biological second big brother. Second Master Tao said. Wow, then aren't you powerful? Sima Yu only came to her senses now. Second Master Tao, since you've such a high status, you definitely wouldn't care about such medicinal ingredients, right? I'm really willing to pay a high price for it, I've lots of spirit stones. Seeing how careful she was, Second Master Tao was favored by her and laughed. Do you think I lack spirit stones? Sima Yu was embarrassed. Seeing you like this, you don't lack spirit stones. Why don't you give that medicinal ingredient to me? I'll remember your kindness forever. Give? No, I've never given anyone anything. I'll trade you for it at most. Trade? Sima Yu was surprised. Second Master Tao, you're an important person and have high status. I'm afraid that anything I have here wouldn't catch your eye. As she spoke, she took out some medicinal ingredients and rare ore stones while looking at him with big and round eyes. These are the most precious items I have. Take a look, which one of them can I use to trade with you? Second Master Tao took a casual glance at the items that she took out and frowned. All these items of yours have no value. Sima Yu's face was full of disappointment. Indeed. But it's not that you have nothing to trade for. Second Master Tao said. Really? May I know which of these items have caught Second Master Tao's interest? Her small face instantly turned clear and looked at him smilingly. Second Master Tao didn't speak as he stared at her. The smile on Sima Yu's face slowly faded away as she took a step back. You. Why are you staring at me? Young lady, you are a smart person. Second Master Tao had already asked of her family background. She was someone that nobody knew. Why would he not take advantage of it? You're thinking of. Sima Yu was frightened and took a few continuous steps back to the entrance. What do you think of this deal? If you follow me, I'll give you the silver water plant and a life of great wealth. What do you say? As he spoke, he took out a box before him and opened it facing her. Sima Yu was struggling as she saw the medicinal ingredient in the box. As long as you're willing to, this silver water plant is yours. I can also send physicians to treat your father. Your clan can come under the Tao clan's wing as well. Second Master Tao said gently with a bewitching tone. Sima Yu frowned tightly. She wanted to save her father but she didn't want to agree to his condition at the same time. Second Master Tao stopped talking as he enjoyed watching her struggle. After a while, Sima Yu spoke. I'm sorry, I can't agree with your condition. Why? Second Master Tao wasn't surprised. Don't you want to save your father? Don't you want the silver water plant anymore? I want to, but I can't agree to your terms. My father won't be able to take it if he knew how I obtained this medicinal ingredient. Sima Yu continued, Second Master Tao, can you change the conditions? Then I'll have to search elsewhere. Sima Yu spoke as she prepared to leave. However, when she opened the door, she saw two. Sima went to push them, but she couldn't push them away. Move, she said while glaring at them. Hee, without my orders, they won't move. Second Master Tao laughed. Sima Yu turned around and looked at him, saying solemnly, what do you want to do? My intentions are obvious, and very simple. Second Master Tao shrugged. I don't need this water plant anymore. Let me go. Sima Yu was flustered. Do you think that you will still be able to leave after coming here? This is a tea house. As long as I cry out, I will attract the attention of others and the name of Second Master Tao will be shattered. After all, you're not the only clan in Phoenix City. Oh my, are you threatening me? Second Master Tao burst out laughing. Name? Do you know what the name of Second Master Tao, sounds like in Phoenix City? If you want to cry out, then cry out loudly. In any case, not a single person in Phoenix City doesn't know who I am. Even if I kidnap you back home, it will just be another mark added to my name. You. Sima Yu was apparently shocked by his words. Alright, this lord still has things I want to do today. I don't have time to mess around with you. Today, if you want to promise, you should promise. If you don't want to promise, you should still promise. Second Master Tao threatened. Dream on. Sima Yu said as she tried to attack the guard at the door, but she was subdued in 2 to 3 moves. When she saw Second Master Tao walk over, she cried out with rage, I won't let you have your way. After saying this, she started to move her spirit energy within her to self-detonate. Dream on. Second Master Tao didn't think that her personality would be so violent as he cried out and flashed to her side immediately, grasping her throat hard. Sima Yu immediately went limp. Just before she fainted, Sima Yu heard his final words. He said that she was a spicy little kitten and he would definitely tame her. As for the red on her hand, it deepened in color, but it still eventually faded. Second Master. The people at the door didn't think that Sima Yu would self-detonate. By the time he reacted, she had already landed up in his embrace. First return to the clan and find a place for her to settle down. Stupid woman, stupid woman. Sima Yu could sense the person beside her sway. She slowly regained consciousness. When she opened her eyes, she saw a smaller version of herself. Mi-er? What are you doing out here? She rubbed her neck. It was extremely painful. Didn't you say to wake you up once you arrived at the Tao clan? Mi-er lay on the bed as he poked her stomach. Oh, right. I couldn't think of it for the moment. Sima Yu thought about how she had given him those instructions. I said, stupid woman, you went too far. Why did you stop me from acting just now? Mi-er raged, don't you know that if something had really happened to you, I would have to die together with you? I have something I need to do by coming here. If you acted, what was I supposed to do? Sima Yu sat up. She looked at the face that was a mirror in her own and she stretched forth a hand to mess his hair. Relax, I won't mess around with my life. I know that you're worried about me. She had many lives on her hands, how could she die so easily? Humph. Who's worried about you? Mi-er hopped off the bed. What are we going to do next? You mean me, not we. Sima Yu looked deeply at Mi-er. Those eyes stunned him, as he asked, what bad thing are you thinking of doing? How could I be thinking of doing anything bad? Sima Yu said, I just have something that I need you to do. I refuse. Just one look and I know that you don't have any good ideas. How could I? Sima Yu beamed, I merely want to get you to help me with something. What? Very simple. Disguise yourself as me and stay here. You don't have to do anything else. Dream on. Mi-er directly hopped up, don't even think of getting me to deal with that disgusting guy. But I want to go and scout for information. I can only rely on you. I don't want to. Look for 1,000 resonance instead. He can disguise himself as you too. Mi-er rejected it, refusing to agree. If that person returned in the meantime, wouldn't he have to pretend to comply like she did? 1,000 resonance has to stick with me. I can't leave him here. Sima Yu said, relax, I'll set up an illusory array later. As long as he enters, he'll enter the illusion. Then just do that, just use the illusory array to deal with him. But this illusory array can't be without you. Otherwise, it won't work. Sima Yu explained patiently, as the person inside the illusory array speaks, you have to be the one to say it. Also, when they're outside, if they can't sense my aura from inside, they won't fall for it. Good Mi-er, if you don't help me with this, I'll have a lot of trouble dealing with it. They really won't touch me? Mi-er's eyes were filled with reluctance. He really thought that this woman was going to sell him away. Really? Do you need me to swear to heaven? Sima Yu stared helplessly at him. She secretly wondered why she had to fall so low as to make this kind of vow. If he dares to touch me, I'll kill him. Mi-er said, full of killing intent. However, this was considered as a tacit approval. Alright, as you wish. Sima Yu said, but you can relax. Relax. Based on what Tuo Yi Xian said, Second Master Tao doesn't like to force himself upon a girl. As long as you don't agree, he won't do anything to you. That'd better be the case. Mi-er huffed, so if I stay here, what are you going to do? I'm going to look for the poison master that Tuo Yi Xian spoke about to look for the antidote. Sima Yu said, but I have to find someone to lead the way. Hurry back. I'm only going to help you for 2 days. If you can't deal with it by then, I don't care. 2 days isn't enough time. 1 day then. Me don't be like this. You better hurry up. Sima Yu sighed, and set up a barrier around the house. Seeing me turn into herself, she called out 1,000 resonance and fused with him. She opened the door and walked out brazenly. Once she disappeared from the courtyard, the guard at the door finally muttered, I felt a little absent-minded earlier. How about you? How could it be? Haven't we been like this the whole time? The other one replied. The girl that the second master brought back this time is very pure. It's a pity that she may not live too long. Shut your mouth. You dare discuss the matters of our second master? Wait till second master feeds you to the dogs. That person was clearly scared and nodded without speaking. They glanced at the house and sensed that Sima Yu was still inside, secretly thinking about how it was a pity that second master had set his sights on her. Her future days would be difficult. However, second master was not someone that they could retaliate against. They could only say that she was a pitiful girl. Previous chapter. When Sima Yu left the courtyard, she took on the appearance of a servant. She held onto a plate of spirit fruits and walked along the path that Tao Yi Xian had told her about before. She headed towards the place where the poison master was at. On the way there, she encountered a few patrols. Those people saw the spirit fruits in her hand and felt like their mouths were dry and stretched forth a hand, wanting to take those spirit fruits. She took a step backward and bowed demurely, smiling, Big brothers, these spirit fruits have been requested for by Patriarch. This servant is to send them to Great Master Ji. The guard's hand stopped in midair. Who didn't know that Great Master Ji liked spirit fruits? Who would dare touch his things? He would probably have the life to take it but not the life to eat it. Since it is for Great Master Ji, then hurry along. The guard waved his hand to urge her along without the slightest suspicion. Thank you, big brother. Sima Yu stood up again as she left holding the spirit fruits. After walking for half a day, Sima Yu arrived at a remote courtyard. She thought about how Tao Yi Xian said that Great Master Ji was antisocial and didn't enjoy interacting with others but secretly wondered why there was a need to stay so far away. She knocked on the door of the courtyard and said, Great Master Ji, this servant has delivered spirit fruits upon orders of the Patriarch. After a moment passed, the door of the courtyard opened as a little child stood behind the door. It looked at her with an icy expression. Master said that the spirit fruits for today have already been sent over. Why are they being sent again? The child's voice was immature, but his tone was unkind. It's like this. These fruits have just been offered from below, saying that they found them deep in the mountains. Patriarch felt that Great Master Ji has never eaten these before, so he got this servant to send them over now. If Great Master Ji finds them tasty, he will send more. Sima Yu invented a random excuse. Then give them to me. The child said as he stretched forth a hand to take them. Sima Yu handed the fruits to him before saying, Patriarch said that he has some things he wishes this servant to tell Great Master Ji. Follow me, then. The child turned around and Sima Yu followed after, closing the door behind them. Great Master Ji was researching some poison grass and was unable to extract the purest essence after trying a few times, irritating him. At this time, his little disciple brought a servant girl and walked in. What's going on? He asked solemnly. Great Master Ji. Sima Yu bowed demurely and said, the people below have offered a fresh batch of spirit fruits and Patriarch has ordered this servant to send some over for you to try. He said that if you like them, he will get them to offer more. Great Master Ji saw the tray that his little disciple had placed on his tray. There were truly 2 spirit fruits that he had never eaten before. One of them was emerald green, the other was rosy. They looked juicy and sweet. However, he was in an irritated state right now and was in no mood to eat fruits. He said with irritation, I am not in any mood to eat right now. I will tell you once I have tried them, you may head down first. How could Sima Yu be willing to leave? She lowered her head and said, Great Master Ji, Patriarch said that he is awaiting your news. Great Master Ji, you should understand Patriarch's mood. Great Master Ji knew that, whenever Patriarch sent him new types of fruits, he would get him to tell him how it was. If he found it pleasing, he would do his best to find them again. He took a red spirit fruit. This spirit fruit was small and rosy, resembling a cherry. However, it was more fragrant than a peach. He placed it into his mouth. The pulp melted in his mouth, releasing a fragrance that radiated from his chest to his heart. After eating it, he couldn't stop all the way until it was completely gone. Only then did he stop. What fruit is this? He asked. It's called the heartless fruit. Sima Yu replied. Heartless fruit? Right, it has another name called the life-seizing fruit. How could there be a spirit fruit with this name? He didn't know why, but when he heard this name, his heart suddenly jumped. Of course there is, because I'm the one who gave it its name. Sima Yu smiled. Great Master Ji felt like something was not right. He wanted to say something, but he suddenly felt a pain in his chest. His body was weird. He stepped forward and wanted to grab Sima Yu, but she immediately appeared in another part of the room. Who are you? How could there be such an expert servant girl here, especially one who dared to do this to him? Sima Yu bowed demurely and said, this servant is merely a little maid in this residence. Humph, how could I not know that there was a maid like you in this residence? Great Master Ji said as he attacked Sima Yu. However, she avoided him again. Great Master Ji, if I were you, I wouldn't get angry for the time being and wouldn't use my spirit energy. Sima Yu notified him. Great Master Ji shot her an icy glare, as if he were a poisonous snake watching a prey that was doomed to death, an animal that filled him with rage. He felt strengthless as he sat on the chair for a long while. He was all too familiar with this feeling. You've poisoned me. How did you do it? He immediately calmed down. The other party didn't seem to have given him lethal poison and had remained here. It was obvious that there was something she wanted to say. He didn't think that he would ever make such a low-leveled mistake. You ate it on your own. Sima Yu said, beaming. I ate it? Why didn't I taste any poison? He didn't believe it. He was a great master who specialized in poisons, and poisons had nowhere to hide in front of him. There was no way he ate one. It was the same even for those poisons that had no color or taste. Sima Yu smirked as she pulled a chair over and sat beside him. She said, I didn't say that the poison was tasteless and colorless. What? I used a method for this poison that made it taste like the heartless fruit. Great Master Ji was stunned. She had made it taste like the heartless fruit. This was the first time he had eaten this type of spirit fruit and merely thought that it was the taste of the spirit fruit. He didn't think that it concealed the poison. The poison was on the outside of the spirit fruit, and he had eaten it just like that. He never thought he would fall prey to this so easily. What do you want to do? He asked. Great Master Ji, don't you first want to see what kind of poison you're inflicted with? Sima Yu asked. Humph, since you don't want to kill me immediately, I still have the time later on to research this. What I am more curious about is why you want to poison me. Great Master Ji said confidently. To cause him to lose strength and block his spirit energy and things like that, these were all games to him. I already said that Great Master Ji is proficient in poison, so it's normal that you would think this way. Sima Yu leaned on the back of the chair, however, I still feel like it would be better if you checked out what kind of poison you're inflicted with. Great Master Ji saw that she was so confident and felt like she was too young and didn't know him well, which was the only reason she felt like she could manipulate him. However, since she had already said this, he had no qualms checking himself. He didn't expect that the moment he examined himself, his expression would immediately turn ugly as he exploded with fury. Great Master Ji finally stopped treating Sima Yu lightly. The gaze he looked at her with changed again and again, as he finally managed to suppress his rage. Just who are you? How do you know how to refine this type of poison? 100 flora worm poison. It's not that difficult of a poison to make. Great Master Ji, you don't have to be so shocked, do you? Sima Yu said, as for who I am, Great Master Ji, you don't have to concern yourself with that. I don't have any direct feud with you, I merely want to form an exchange. Great Master Ji guessed it, and it wasn't out of his expectation as he asked, what exchange? We both have the antidotes to our 100 flora worm poisons, why don't we exchange our antidotes? You want the antidote to the 100 flora worm poison? You're one of young master's people. Great Master Ji immediately understood her motive. I'm not one of your young master's people. I merely got to know him recently and have a deal with him. Sima Yu said. You enjoy making deals with people. Great Master Ji replied bitingly. Thank you for your praise. Great Master Ji wanted to yell that it wasn't a compliment. I don't have the antidote. The Patriarch has taken it. He said. Patriarch? What does he want the antidote for? Sima Yu was rather surprised. How would I know? Great Master Ji snorted coldly. No problem. Since the antidote is gone, just refine a new batch. Sima Yu said, I know that you definitely kept the recipe for it. Great Master Ji subconsciously wanted to say that he didn't, but he knew that there would be no meaning in saying this to her. I don't have that many herbs. He said, that type of antidote needs so many herbs. The Patriarch knows this. If I use the herbs, the Patriarch will find out. I'm guessing that you don't want him to find out about it, right? No problem. I have the herbs. Sima Yu said, just let me look at the recipe and I'll know what to do. Give her the recipe. Great Master Ji was unwilling. Think about it properly. Sima Yu didn't push him as she stood up and walked around the house. She saw the poison and essence that were placed on a side of the table and laughed. He was having a headache over this just now. It was no wonder he looked incredibly angry when she first entered. She lit a fireball and made it small and like a furnace as she took the herb on the table and tossed it in. What are you doing? Great Master Ji cried out. Did she know how precious and difficult this herb was to obtain? How could she so casually? His rage very quickly turned into shock. He didn't think that not only did she not burn the herb, but concentrated liquid started to flow out from its roots. She was refining it. When he thought about this, he calmed down and watched her refine it. Sima Yu paid him no heed as she focused completely on refining. Very quickly, the herb turned into an emerald liquid and a heap of remnants. She casually took the jade bottle from the table and stored the essence well. Then, with a wave of her hand, the flame and remnant rubbish were gone. Let me see. Great Master Ji ran over and immediately snatched the jade bottle. When he saw the emerald essence inside, which had a yield many times larger than his, he looked at her excitedly. How did you do it? Just like that. It was simple. Sima Yu said confidently. Great Master Ji wanted to ask her how this was a simple issue at all. However, thinking about how she had done it so easily, this was probably really a simple issue to her. He didn't expect that this little lady would be so young but such an expert. He even guessed earlier on that the 100 flora worm poison was not one that she had refined personally. However, after going through this experience, he realized that she was really an expert with poisons. Little lady, if there's anything to say, we can discuss it nicely. You want my antidote, which is not impossible. However, you have to tell me how you did this. No, you have to stay here and discuss poisons with me. Great Master Ji said excitedly. Sima Yu looked at him puzzledly. He changed too quickly, right? You said just now that the patriarch has taken the antidote away. She said. If there's no more, we can refine it again. You said that you didn't have the ingredients. We can always gather them again. You said that the patriarch knows about the antidote, so you will be discovered if you take the herbs. I still have a lot of the herbs, I'm just missing a few crucial ones. If I only get those, I can always say I'm researching other things if the patriarch comes to ask me. Sima Yu stared at him, wanting to tell him that his words were really fake. Great Master Ji took out the recipe for his 100 flora worm poison and said, these are the 100 herbs and insects I used. You will know how sincere I am after looking at this. Sima Yu took the list and looked it over. She was already able to ascertain a majority of the poisonous insects and herbs he used, and it was similar to the one on the paper, so she knew that it was real. Seeing that she didn't say anything, Great Master Ji said, I swear that this is the recipe. Sima Yu tossed the recipe back to him and said, I can tell you, but the few days that I am here, you are not to tell anyone my identity. I won't give you the antidote either until I leave. When are you leaving? I'll leave after watching your competition in the clan. Relax, it won't take your life before many days have gone by. Sima Yu said. You're leaving so quickly. Can't you stay longer? Great Master Ji cried out. Sima Yu saw his reluctant look and was stunned. I still have things I need to do. But I'll definitely teach you the refining method within these few days. Alright then. Great Master Ji unwillingly agreed. Sima Yu walked over to the child. He had fainted during her first move. She took out some medicine and waved it under his nose. He slowly regained consciousness. Master, what's going on? The child was a little faint. Nothing, your master has something to discuss with her, so go ahead with your things. Do not speak a word of what happened today with anyone. You are not to tell anyone else that there is someone else in this courtyard. Great Master Ji said. The child was a little confused, but he dared not disobey the master's orders, so he obediently went down. Master's words were right. Lady Yu, look, we can now. Great Master Ji really wanted her to teach him now, but seeing how things were, it probably wouldn't happen. What use is it to look at me? You don't have that herb anymore. Even if I explain it to you, it won't work if you don't have it to practice on. Sima Yu said. I'll go to the herb hall now and take the missing herbs personally. I'll take a few of those as well. Great Master Ji said as he left. Sima Yu remained in the courtyard, getting the child to help her choose a bedroom. Once the little guy left, she released her scarlet bees. Although she believed that Great Master Ji would not harm himself, it was better to be prepared. At this time, the scarlet bees that she had left with Mi-Er sent word that Second Master Tao had returned. Sima Yu got them to hide themselves and keep watch. She was very curious as to how Mi-Er would deal with Second Master Tao. Actually, apart from being curious, she was a little worried. What was she going to do if Mi-Er killed the guy? At this time, if Second Master Tao died, it would definitely raise chaos in the family and it wouldn't be beneficial for them. It was a good thing that, while Mi-Er was arrogant beyond belief, he knew how important this was and didn't act completely based on his character. He didn't kick him out directly or kill him. When Sima Yu heard this, she calmed down a little. In her heart, she secretly thought that Mi-Er was still able to tell when things were serious. As for the other side, Mi-Er was forcing himself not to be rash and stopped himself from tossing the people out immediately. I say, little girl, have you thought about it? If you cross the village, you'll miss the shop. In 2 days, I'll use the silver water plant. At that time, you won't be able to get it even if you wanted it. Second Master Tao faced the empty bed and spoke very forcefully. Mi-Er sat on a seat by the side and huffed, I will never promise you. You better release me, my Sima clan isn't easy to deal with either. Are you threatening me? Second Master Tao was tickled. Humph. Don't think that I don't know this. You never planned to give me the silver water plant from the start. Even if I agree, you will still lock me here forever. Even if I die, I will never be with an old pervert like you. Mi-Er cried out. Second Master Tao entered the illusory array the moment he stepped into the room. That was why the one who was enraged appeared to be sitting on the bed. He watched as she furrowed her eyebrows and he felt angered again. He walked to the bedside and the person on the bed retreated backwards. She was trapped in a narrow space. You, what do you want to do? Maybe you don't know this, but I've never forced someone before. Although I admit that your resistance is enticing and has stoked my interest, I prefer obedient little kittens. Second Master Tao said. I won't agree. You better give up. Mi-Er said. Is that so? Could it be that those 2 guards didn't tell you that if you don't agree, the outcome will be even worse? Second Master Tao left a kiss on her face. Oh, it felt so good. The illusory Sima Yu was so scared that she turned pale. Ha ha ha, think it over properly. I don't have that much patience. Second Master Tao laughed as he left. Mi-Er heaved a sigh of relief. It was a good thing that this Tao guy didn't really do anything disgusting. Otherwise, even if the person didn't exist in the illusion, he wouldn't have been able to control himself. Even if it were fake, he couldn't bear to let him have such filthy thoughts towards Sima Yu. Sima Yu could sense Mi-er's thoughts and the corner of her mouth hooked into a light smile. This guy. It seems like I have to find something for Second Master Tao to do to prevent him from harassing Mi-er often. However, she just arrived at this kind of place and had no connections nor a clear understanding of the situation. She only knew that Second Master Tao liked beauties. Beauties. It was as if she suddenly thought of something and laughed mischievously. She gave Mi-er some information that would make Second Master Tao rather busy. When night fell, a portrait was passed around to many people and landed in front of Second Master Tao. When they saw the portrait that looked so realistic, Second Master Tao felt as if he couldn't breathe. Could this world really have such a beautiful woman? He asked the guard beside him. Second Master, we have already checked. This person does exist. It's just that. Just what? It's just that it's not a human. It's merely a transformed spirit beast. The guard replied. Transformed spirit beast? Second Master Tao's voice was obviously more interested than angry. That's right. The guard knelt down, wondering whether Second Master's taste would be so heavy. A spirit beast? I've never tasted one before. Second Master Tao chuckled. Do you know what this person is? Where is she? She's over at Rabbit Ear Mountain. The guard replied. Rabbit Ear Mountain? Then we shall head to Rabbit Ear Mountain for a spin. Second Master, it will be the clan's assessment gathering in a few days. If something happens before the gathering, why don't we go after the gathering? The guard steeled his heart and advised. Am I the master or are you? Second Master Tao gave him a kick. Hurry up and prepare the transportation array. There wasn't much time and they would only be able to rush back in time if they used the transportation array. The guard secretly cried out for his misery as he got up and left. Sima Yu obtained the information from her scarlet bees that Second Master Tao went to Rabbit Ear Mountain that very night. Nobody knew whether or not he would return alive. Since he wasn't around, Mi-er wanted even more to return. Sima Yu thought about how the only ones who knew about her situation now were those two guards and nobody else, so she got him to deal with them secretly. The moment Mi-er heard it, he became happy and, after getting rid of any traces of the bodies, slipped back to Sima Yu's side under the cover of the night. Mi-er just returned to the back of Sima Yu's hand when she heard a knock on the door. Yu, I've refined the antidote. Great Master Ji was taking credit for his achievement outside the door. Sima Yu opened the door and let him in and he immediately offered her the antidote, saying, this is the antidote for young Master's 100 flora worm poison. Is it the real deal? Of course it is. Great Master Ji blew on his beard and stared at her. He wanted to get mad, but he dared not get angry in front of her, so he said with a chuckle, relax, my little life is still in your hands. I also still need you to teach me. I'll believe you this time. Sima Yu opened her little realm and let Tao Yi-Xian out. When he saw Tao Yi-Xian, Great Master Ji's expression changed multiple times, but he remained silent in the end and didn't do anything either. Sima Yu handed the antidote to Tao Yi-Xian, saying, this is the antidote that Great Master Ji refined personally. If you believe him, eat it. Tao Yi-Xian took the antidote and looked at Great Master Ji, who arrogantly tilted his head to the side. He didn't refine this item for the young master's sake. Tao Yi-Xian then turned back to look at Sima Yu. She had no expression, as if it didn't matter to her whether or not he decided to eat the antidote. If it were before, he might have retained a shred of suspicion. However, after walking around inside the little realm, he understood her quite a bit more. Since she didn't say that the antidote was wrong, it should be fine. As such, he ate the antidote without hesitation. After a moment passed, he could feel extreme pain from his body. It was as if every part of him was being cut by a blade. His vital organs were also rolling, and he almost fainted from the pain a few times. This antidote. He grabbed a chair and he even dragged down the back of it. He wanted to say that the antidote was fake, but the pain in his body was so intense that he could speak. He fell to the floor completely. Sima Yu walked over to him and squatted down, saying, this antidote is real. It's just that the result is a little hard to bear. Since you're in such pain, I'll help you again. Once you wake up, the poison should be gone. Tao Yi-Xian looked hazily at her. The pain had already turned his mind muddled. He didn't know what Sima Yu fed him, but he fainted after that. Previous chapter. Next chapter. When Tao Yi-Xian woke up, he was already lying on the bed. Although his body was still in pain, he no longer felt his usual inability to move his spirit energy. He immediately inspected his body and, apart from feeling pain, he was back to normal. This meant that his poison was cured. He moved a little and his entire body was racked with pain. In his mind, he felt like he was feeling worse than when he was poisoned. He heard people talking outside and let himself sit up slowly. Before he got off the bed, he heard the door open and Sima Yu's voice came from the door. If I were you, I would lie down and rest. Otherwise, if anything happens later on, there's no medicine for regret. Tao Yi-Xian knew that the condition of his body wasn't great, so he lay down obediently. How long was I unconscious? Not that long, just 3 or 4 days. Sima Yu walked over and took his pulse. The poison is already cleared. Why was the healing process so painful? Tao Yi-Xian asked. Your body was small because of the poison, so after receiving the antidote, you had to grow again. For a small body to become big again will definitely require a process. It's a good thing you encountered me. Otherwise, you would die from the pain upon receiving the antidote anyway. Sima Yu said, but you were more good looking when you were young. Tao Yixian felt like he was being teased. Are we in Great Master Ji's courtyard now? Yeah. Does nobody in the clan know? He asked, worried. Even if you don't trust him, you should trust me. I still have to research some poisons with him, so you should rest here properly. You'll be able to get off the bed in 2 days. Sima Yu took out some pills and forced them into his mouth before turning to leave. Tao Yixian was vexed, unsure whether or not Sima Yu was angry or not. He knew as well that had no need to answer this question. If anyone else knew about it, would he have been able to wake up? He was afraid that he would have been killed while he was unconscious. However, he had asked this inexplicably and made her upset. Sigh. Sima Yu left the room. Actually, she wasn't angry. However, she felt like there was nothing she had to say to him and she was researching poisons in the courtyard just now. She had only come in because she heard him wake up. Of course she would leave once she settled what she went there for. How is he? Great Master Ji asked. Old Ji, your 100 flora worm poison is much more powerful than mine. The process is really more than enough. Sima Yu said as she sat beside him. You're the one who's more powerful than I am. Great Master Ji said, my poisons definitely wouldn't work on you, and you're the one who poisoned me. I just got lucky. Sima Yu said, I'm younger than you, had a disguise and you weren't familiar with me but I know you. Because of this, there's no comparison. Enough, we don't have to flatter each other. Let's see how to treat the poison that this will create. Great Master Ji said as he placed a piece of paper in front of her. These 2 days, they had been playing around with these things. One person would take out the raw materials for a poison without saying what proportion and refining method it needed. The other would then guess and tell the other what the antidote was. Most of the time, Great Master Ji was the one who would give them and Sima Yu would guess. Although she wasn't 100% accurate, she would get it right 90% of the time. As for the raw materials that Sima Yu gave him, Great Master Ji would always have to research it for a period of time. It wasn't that he wasn't proficient in poison, but that the ones Sima Yu took out would always be peculiar or extremely tricky ones. However, Great Master Ji didn't care that he was being suppressed. He always became excited when he saw Sima Yu's methods. The both of them really enjoyed messing around the entire time. Sima Yu took the piece of paper and looked at it. She didn't react immediately. Instead, she placed it on the table and used her right hand to knock on the piece of paper lightly. Old Ji, you should know about Tao Yixian's situation along with what I want to do, right? She asked. I do, why do you ask? Have you ever thought about going to tell the Patriarch and the others? Great Master Ji rolled his eyes, saying, for what reason would I tell them? Aren't you guys working together? Who said that I was working together with them? Sima Yu was stunned, was he not? They're surnamed Tao while my surname is Ji. I'm not from their clan, and I'm not even their guest. What we have between us is merely a deal. They give me a peaceful life and I provide them with poisons. That's all. I don't get involved in their struggles and definitely don't belong under them. Great Master Ji said, if I can stay here, then I will. If I can't, then I'll just leave. I don't need them. Sima Yu didn't think that they would actually have this sort of relationship. Then do you know who was the one who wanted the 100 flora worm poison? She asked. I don't know. I just know that the person had the Patriarch's waist token in his hand. I've only ever recognized the token and not people. I don't really pay attention to the people in the clan. That's why although I didn't know them, I still gave them the poison. Great Master Ji knew that she wanted to ask him about what happened back then, so he told her all he knew. The Patriarch's token? If it wasn't him, then it was someone who had a good relationship with him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to obtain that token. Yu, since we're chatting, shouldn't we have some fine wine and side dishes, desserts and then fruits? Great Master Ji asked. After eating what she cooked yesterday, he was greedy again. Sima Yu saw him acting that way and knew that if she wanted to get more information from him, she had to first satisfy his requests. As such, she didn't ask him any more question and went to cook 4 side dishes along with a bottle of wine. She even took out a tray of spirit fruits. Great Master Ji ate a heartless fruit. Although he had been poisoned because of it, he didn't let it stop his love for it. Sima Yu sat back down and poured some wine for Great Master Ji before pouring some for herself. Then, she asked, I know about the poison, but what about the antidote? Did you give it to him as well? Or did you give it to him after? The Patriarch came to take it from me personally later on. Great Master Ji took a drink of wine. At that time, I even asked why he had only come to take the antidote from me after such a long time had passed. He said, I forgot about it. His expression was even a little unnatural. Although I could tell, I said before that I'm not interested in the issues regarding the clan. So, I didn't ask much and just gave him the antidote. Later on, I heard that the young master had secretly been poisoned by someone and had already escaped a long time ago. Sima Yu listened up to this point and had already guessed most of it. The one who poisoned him probably wasn't Tao Yixian's father. It seemed like this point might bring him some comfort. However, his father definitely still participated in it later on, it was just that she didn't know which part he participated in. As for the person behind the scenes, it was probably someone that Patriarch Tao wanted to protect. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken on the name of the perpetrator. Someone who hated Tao Yixian to the bone and wanted to get rid of him quickly, there would be a few of them. However, someone that Patriarch Tao wanted to protect, not so many. No matter how you said it, if Patriarch Tao had to choose between Tao Yixian and the person behind this, Patriarch Tao chose the latter. Although he didn't attack him with his own hands, the damage was serious for Tao Yixian. Sima Yu turned her head and took a glance at his room. He should have heard what they said, but no one would know what he thought about it. It was better to give him some space. I wonder why the Patriarch came for the antidote. Great Master Ji continued, I think it's to destroy the person and remove any traces. Why don't you think that it's for Tao Yixian? Sima Yu asked. Because I told him back then that if he wanted to treat the poison, it would be for the best to prepare 2 more pain relief pills. Otherwise, the person who was poisoned would be unable to bear it. He said that he'd understood, but he didn't ask me for anything else except that he took the antidote and left. It's not that serious to destroy the dead and remove all the traces, right? Aren't you here still? Sima Yu stared at him, there's hope as long as you're alive. Great Master Ji laughed as he shook his head, you don't know about my custom. I don't usually refine pills for others. As he spoke, he lifted his head and shot a glare at her. He wouldn't have refined it for her if she didn't coerce and threaten him to do it. Sima Yu understood what he meant from the look in his eyes. She touched her nose and laughed cheekily, I'm one of the unusual cases. I know I offended you. Here, let me offer a cup of wine to you as an apology, alright? Do you always do such things? Giving a sweet after a slap? Great Master Ji held up a cup, cheered with hers and finished it in one mouthful. Hee, not always, occasionally maybe. Sima Yu continued, I have no choice but to do that. You said you had a deal with young master, what is it? Sima Yu hesitated for a while and told him about looking for someone. So you came to the island of Lost Place to look for your master and teacher? Great Master Ji said. They came here because of me. Now that they're missing, how can I let it go just like that? Sima Yu huffed a long sigh, I'm hoping that they aren't suffering here. Your master got himself a good disciple. Great Master Ji started to envy them. The sincerity itself was touching enough regardless of whether she could find them or not. He looked at the little child wandering around the courtyard full of medicinal ingredients and wondered how much he meant to him. Right at this moment, someone knocked on the door anxiously and interrupted the mood as they were talking. The child went to open the door and asked the guy outside, can I help you? Is Great Master Ji in? Patriarch is asking him to go over immediately. The guy outside said anxiously. My master is busy. The child rejected as he saw that his master didn't reply. He closed the door after he spoke. Young master, don't close the door yet. This is an order from the Patriarch. Second master is in trouble. The Patriarch asked him to go over immediately to have a look. What does it have to do with my master when the second master is in trouble? If you don't leave, I'm going to release poison. The child threatened. Second master is really in trouble. Please tell Great Master Ji. I came here with the Patriarch's token. The guard's voice was very anxious, it seemed like the second master was in a bad state. Initially, Sima Yu's heart skipped a beat when she heard about second master. She didn't expect him to come back alive, why didn't that lady kill him straight away? Seeing how anxious this guard was, she wondered how second master Tao was doing. Thinking of this, she stood up before Great Master Ji, bowed and said, Lord, since the second master is in trouble and Patriarch sent someone to invite you over. Why don't we go? After she spoke, the guard then knew that Great Master Ji was in the courtyard. It was just that he couldn't see him in that position. Great Master Ji, Patriarch said that you must go over. He shouted towards the courtyard. Great Master Ji frowned seeing Sima Yu acting like a servant. You want to go and watch a show? Sima Yu smiled happily. What was so bad about seeing some drama? It was better than cooping herself up here. Since that's the case, then we shall go and take a look. Great Master Ji brought Sima Yu out and told the child, you have to take good care of the house. Our courtyard is mostly filled up with things that are poisonous, don't let anyone in. Master, I understand. The child answered obediently. Sima Yu saw the look on his face and remembered how his eyes looked earlier on. She thought to herself that he would definitely be fiercer than Shi Qianji when he grew up. The guard outside the courtyard was shocked and he saw the servant behind Great Master Ji. Wasn't Great Master Ji always alone and didn't converse with girls? Since when did he have a servant? Didn't you say that it's urgent? Why are you standing here? Great Master Ji said in a low voice. Yes. Great Master Ji, please follow me. The guard brought them to Second Master Tao's residence and they only got to know of his situation on the way there. You're saying that Second Master Tao was poisoned after he went to Rabbit Ear Mountain and sexually assaulted that old monster? Sima Yu cried out in shock. She wanted to use that old monster to get Second Master Tao's attention so that he could get into an accident after he went to Rabbit Ear Mountain. Who knew that guy had the guts to actually sexually assault that old monster? Second Master was lucky enough to escape from that person. Great Master Ji knew that the girl clad fully in white was scarily powerful. Second Master didn't escape, he was released by that girl. The guard continued, that girl said she would let him off today for the sake of the connection between the Tao clan and her. But death is an easy escape, living hell is hard to escape. Second Master fainted after she waved her hand. The guard then brought the Second Master back. Patriarch also invited the physician to come over and take a look, he said he had been poisoned. They couldn't do anything, so Patriarch invited Great Master Ji over to take a look. Sima Yu rubbed her chin. She didn't expect that there was a connection between the Tao clan and her. Although the second master didn't lose his life this time, it was the same as being in a coma. Very quickly, a group of people arrived at Second Master Tao's courtyard and the guard brought them into Second Master Tao's house. At the same time, a person walked out from the house while the guards quickly bowed in greeting. Patriarch, Great Master Ji is here. Sima Yuyu lifted her head up and saw a powerful-looking man. His facial features weren't similar to Tao Yixian, so she guessed that he looked more like his mother. Patriarch Tao quickly bowed in greeting upon seeing Great Master Ji. Great Master Ji, quickly take a look at my second little brother. What kind of poison is he inflicted with? Why is he in a coma? Patriarch, calm down, I'll take a good look at Second Master since I'm here. Great Master Ji said as he was going into the house. Sima Yuyu followed behind him but was stopped by Patriarch Tao. Who are you? Previous chapter. Patriarch Tao stopped Sima Yuyu with his hand, blocking Sima Yuyu from Great Master Ji. This way, Great Master Ji could get in the door but she was stopped outside. Patriarch, this servant is. I brought her back previously seeing that she was knowledgeable in poison, so I brought her back to run errands. Great Master Ji said. So it turns out to be a disciple of Great Master Ji. Please. Patriarch Tao moved away, allowing Sima Yuyu to enter. Sima Yuyu bowed and followed Great Master Ji as they entered. Close the door. Great Master Ji said after she stepped through the door. Sima Yuyu turned around and glanced at the people outside. Seeing that they didn't show any signs, she obediently closed the door. Great Master Ji's status was very high in the Tao clan. She said it in her mind. This is the way I do things. Great Master Ji said as he fixed up a spirit barrier. He didn't like people looking at him while he was treating others. It felt like they were looking at a monkey. Sima Yuyu laughed and said, who describes themselves like that? But with that, she could be at ease. Great Master Ji walked over and took a look at Second Master Tao. He is indeed poisoned. This kind of poison is very strange. Sima Yuyu became interested. How is it strange? It looks like he's poisoned and also looks like he's just sleeping. Come and take a look. Great Master Ji stood up and let her take a look at Second Master Tao. Sima Yuyu read Second Master Tao's pulse. She showed a surprised expression and said, this is indeed very strange. Yes, I was right, wasn't I? Great Master Ji continued, it seems like he was poisoned accidentally. I think being poisoned is one thing, something else has been done to his body. Sima Yuyu said. Do you have something against this guy? Great Master Ji asked. You can say that. I was wondering why you would string me here. Great Master Ji continued, but I can't do anything with this poison at this moment, so I can't do anything even if you asked me to. Don't do anything if you can't, let him lie down like this, it's not bad too. Sima Yuyu said. If I go out like that, Patriarch will go crazy since he dotes on the Second Master. Great Master Ji said. You don't care about that, do you? Sima Yuyu laughed, also, it's not like I'm asking you to leave it as it is. You'll need a few days in order to research to get the results, don't you? You just have to delay things a little. Delay them for how long? Great Master Ji didn't even blink. It was just a bit of effort and he would be able to help her. He liked her more than him anyway. You don't need to delay for long, just as long as he can't attend the convention. Sima Yuyu said. No problem. I'm guessing that I can only get a rough idea by then anyway. Old Ji, you're so nice. Sima Yuyu said gratefully. Sure, you're the first to say I'm nice. Old Ji said. Others would say that he was vicious and merciless or eccentric, no one ever said that he was nice before. That's because they couldn't see the good in you. Sima Yuyu continued, they're fearful, afraid, respectful and in reverent awe of you, of course they can't see the good in you. You're good at talking. Great Master Ji took out a jade bowl as he released Second Master Tao's fresh blood into it and kept the spirit barrier. Let's go and report to them. Sure. Sima Yuyu took a step back allowing him to walk in front. When she turned around, she quickly fed him a pill. Everyone was waiting outside anxiously, they quickly gathered around seeing the two of them coming out. Great Master Ji, how is it? Is he poisoned? Patriarch Tao asked. In reply to the Patriarch, the Second Master is indeed poisoned. But this poison is very strange, I've never seen this kind of poison before, so I'll have to do research on it. Great Master Ji continued, but don't worry Patriarch, Second Master is out of danger. Patriarch Tao's heart loosened in relief after hearing that Second Master Tao wasn't in danger. Sorry to trouble Great Master Ji. He said. It's what I should do. Great Master Ji continued, but this poison is really strange, I can make sure Second Master recovers fully. But I won't know if there will be any after effects, I can't give you an answer right now. It's fine as long as Great Master Ji does your best. Patriarch Tao said. All the physicians, alchemists and poison masters in the clan were helpless, he was powerful enough to be able to get Second Master Tao conscious. Patriarch, I heard that the Second Master is in this state because of the old, in Rabbit Ear Mountain, you might be able to get the antidote if you look for her. Great Master Ji gave his honest opinion. This. I'll consider it. But I'll pin my hopes on Great Master Ji. As long as second little brother becomes conscious, the clan will definitely reward you. Patriarch Tao said. I'll do my best even if you don't ask me to. Such interesting poison is worth delving into. Patriarch, I'll take my leave then. Great Master Ji left after he spoke. Sima Yuyu followed behind him, and she bumped into one of the girl's shoulders as she was leaving the courtyard. Why did you come? Didn't I ask you to rest in the courtyard? You can't walk around casually since you're pregnant now. I heard that second little brother is in a critical state, so I came to take a look as I'm worried about you. That girl said gently. Second little brother hasn't come around yet, but Great Master Ji said. Sima Yu couldn't hear what was said behind as she was too far away. However, there was no need to guess the lady's identity, she must be the wife of the patriarch, Yin Ilian. She was really gentle and pitiful looking. It was no wonder patriarch could be so captivated by her to the extent that he didn't want his son. She was pregnant. Didn't they say patriarch Tao couldn't procreate anymore? How did she become pregnant? She asked Great Master Ji. Pfft, they said they found a divine physician and cured the patriarch's health. Then said he could reproduce again. Then the patriarch's wife got pregnant in less than 2 months. Great Master Ji's tone was disdainful while speaking of the divine physician. Since there's a divine physician, why didn't they get him here to treat him? He left long ago. Nobody knows if he's dead or alive. Great Master Ji said while walking. Sima Yu guessed that he should have been eliminated already. Those people wouldn't be as thorough as Great Master Ji. Both of them came back to the courtyard while chatting. The child opened the door for them and said, Master, no one came in before. Well done. I'll teach you how to distinguish between poisons tonight. All right. The child ran away smiling. Great Master Ji then looked for a vessel to keep Second Master Tao's blood in and asked, Little girl, what poison did you give Second Master Tao? You saw it. Sima Yu wasn't embarrassed about being caught, she laughed openly, nothing much, it's just to let his little brother rest eternally. Let his little brother rest eternally? Did that mean that he couldn't be a man anymore? She added before he could speak, there's no antidote. No antidote? Great Master Ji saw her looking so calm and couldn't help but drip with cold sweat. How did you refine that? All living things have a complement and antithesis. Since you're able to refine the poison, there should be an antidote. There is an antidote, but there's no way to refine it right now. Isn't it the same as having no antidote? Sima Yu said. The antidote consists of herbs that have already gone extinct? Great Master Ji raised his eyebrows. To have to use these types of ingredients to make the antidote proved that the ingredients in the poison are very rare as well. Oh Yu, the two of us can be considered to be friends, right? Why don't you tell me? I might be able to find another way to treat this. Sima Yu looked at him and beamed, Old Ji, you want to try? You might be able to experience it for yourself. Experience it for himself? Forget it. In any case, I have someone to experiment on. I just have to try it on him. She had to be joking. Although he rarely placed his attention on this, he was still a normal man. To make it so he would never be able to do that, to speak nothing of anything else, his heart would never be able to accept it. Sima Yu lay on the table and laughed even louder. Great Master Ji was embarrassed by her laughter and waved his sleeves, huffing, I'm not going to talk about this with you. I'm going to research an antidote. Sima Yu saw that his face was red and thought about how she was teasing someone who was a few generations above her, so she stopped messing with him. She followed him and saw him extract the poison from his blood. Old Ji, do you think that Patriarch Tao will go to Rabbit Ear Mountain to ask that person for an antidote? Why are you worried about that? Old Ji asked casually. Didn't that lady inflict this on Second Master Tao? However, she didn't take Second Master Tao's life, and even left him alive based on their past friendship. You tell me, if they went to look for that last, would she give them the antidote? Sima Yu asked. Great Master Ji was stunned as he said, she won't. You're so confident. The lady on Rabbit Ear Mountain is someone that everyone knows as Shrine Maiden. She had some relationship with their previous patriarch, but that was something from a long time ago. However, this bit of affection has been used up by leaving Second Master Tao alive. If Patriarch dares to lead people with him to ask her for the antidote, it will remind her of Second Master Tao's sexual assault and she might even kill the men he sends in a fit of rage. It might even evoke the ire of the Tao clan. Great Master Ji analyzed, don't just look at how Patriarch treats Second Master Tao well. Actually, he is a very selfish person. If something threatens his own safety, he. So that lady is known as the Shrine Maiden. You seem to understand her well, Sima Yu said. I wouldn't call it understanding. I lived with her for a period of time before. Dash. Sima Yu immediately choked. Could Great Master Ji not speak such shocking words? Great Master Ji looked at her from the corner of her eye, why are you so surprised? When did you live with her? Sima Yu forced her smile away and pretended to put on a normal expression. I was still young back then and went to Rabbit Ear Mountain to research poisonous herbs and insects. I was attacked by spirit beasts and almost died. It was Shrine Maiden who saved me. Because my wounds were relatively serious, she took me away. It seemed like many years had already passed but he still remembered what happened. Is this Shrine Maiden not very lonely? Sima Yu asked. She should be very lonely. Great Master Ji sounded rather forlorn as well. It was lonely at the top. For someone like her, how could she not be lonely? Sima Yu thought about her interaction with the Shrine Maiden. She didn't seem to be wholeheartedly devoted to anything like others were, and seemed apathetic to everything. Now that she thought about it, she was probably very lonely. Since you feel like she's lonely, why doesn't she leave Rabbit Ear Mountain? Great Master Ji shook his head, I don't know either. She is probably waiting for something. Sima Yuyu's eyes turned as she said to Great Master Ji, Old Ji, I'm going to take a look to see how young master is going. Go ahead and continue your research. After speaking, she didn't wait for a reply as she turned around and headed out. She returned to her house and set up a barrier, calling out Little Lucky. Little Lucky, do you miss Shrine Maiden? Sima Yuyu asked. Shrine Maiden? The lady who took you away at Rabbit Ear Mountain. Sima Yuyu explained. You're talking about Big Sister? I miss her. Little Lucky nodded, are we going to look for her? I still have things to do and cannot go to look for her. Sima Yuyu said, however, I just heard Old G say that she's very lonely living on the mountain. Sigh, but she's not willing to leave. Big Sister said that she once arranged to meet someone here. In the end, that person died and was unable to come. That is why she remained there alone. Little Lucky said. So that's the case. She really is a sincere lady. Sima Yuyu said rather ruefully. She is. Little Lucky echoed. Since she is suffering on that mountain, why don't we get her to come down the mountain with us? Sima Yuyu asked, since her person has already died, she can't possibly lock herself in there forever. Life has to keep moving forward. Let Big Sister travel with us. Little Lucky's eyes shone, if she were to come with us, she wouldn't be so lonely anymore. That's right. Even if she doesn't stick with us, she can also travel about in other places. If she gets to encounter others, she wouldn't be all alone anymore. Sima Yuyu added on. You're right. I was just saying that Big Sister's aura was off. It turns out that it's because she doesn't interact with others. Little Lucky said. Isn't her relationship with Boatman Tuo pretty good? They could be considered as friends. She could look for her friend and spend time together. Right, people need friends. Little Lucky really agreed with this point. It's a pity that nobody is able to interact with her. Sima Yuyu sighed, since she likes you, why don't you try to advise her? Get her to walk around outside instead of remaining in Rabbit Ear Mountain all the time. How about that? Me? Little Lucky was rather tempted. However, he was afraid that Sima Yuyu was intentionally getting rid of him and shook his head, rejecting the idea after a long moment of hesitation. You won't be the only one going. I'll get Little Roar to go with you. Sima Yuyu said, I'll even get a few ancient spirit beasts to go with you to ensure your safety. Little Roar will go as well? Yeah. Sima Yuyu nodded, thinking about how Little Roar was the best at swaying people. How could this situation stump him? Alright then. As long as Little Roar was around, she would definitely not leave him intentionally. He would also be able to bring Little Roar with him and make Big Sister happier. Then that's settled. Sima Yuyu called out Little Roar and warned them, especially the high-speed Little Roar, that they definitely had to convince her to leave Rabbit Ear Mountain and go to the outside world to look around. Little Roar saw Sima Yuyu wink at him and understood immediately. He patted his chest and assured her that he would complete the mission successfully. Previous chapter. Little Lucky left happily. Before Little Roar left, he secretly transmitted a message to her and asked her why she wanted to do that. He knew, Yuyu would not be so bored as to do something as annoying and ball-breaking as bothering with someone else's issue. Oh, no, she had no balls, then she probably was going to do something like that. Sima Yuyu pursed her lips, but she knew that Little Roar was still rather reliable when the crux came. As such, she told him, it's not that I want to poke my nose into her business, but the Shrine Maiden has a relationship with the Tao clan. If she wants to help the Tao clan or anything like that, it would be rather difficult for us to move. If she isn't around, we wouldn't need to worry about this. No wonder. Then Little Lucky and I will take her out and walk around. We'll return once things are about done. Little Roar said. Alright, once you're done, I'll cook you a huge feast when you return. I'll remember that. You'd better not back out. Little Roar said as he cut off their connection. Sima Yuyu stopped smiling. This guy's personality didn't change no matter how many years had passed. Time had passed and the situation had changed, but someone was still able to stay the same. To her, this was a kind of consolation. And so, even if her spirit beasts matured and became steady, only Little Roar always seemed so indecent, but she didn't say anything to him. With her around, he just had to be happy always. She walked out from her own house and went to Tao Yixian's room. He was lying on the bed and his eyes were staring straight at the roof. What? Why do you look so down? She walked over and took his wrist, examining him. It turns out that in this kind of clan, relationships are so fragile it's pathetic. Tao Yixian came back to his senses and his initial emotions were gone. Sima Yuyu could sense that something in him seemed to have changed. You're saying that you heard everything. Sima Yuyu kept her hands away, you're recovering well. You should be able to get out of bed tomorrow. Tao Yixian looked at her, didn't you want me to listen to it? Sima Yuyu pursed her lips, not denying it. It's better for you to know the truth early on. I know. Tao Yixian stared at the ceiling again, actually, I should have known. He never treated me with any fatherly affection. Any use that I was to him was long since exhausted since he sat on the seat as the patriarch. That he was able to put up with me for 400 years is already something that didn't come by easily. I remember. You said that your father was not able to procreate due to a few reasons, right? Sima Yu asked. That's right. Why do you ask this? Tao Yixian asked. The matriarch is pregnant. It said that she initially invited a divine doctor to treat your father, but the weird thing is that that divine doctor disappeared after treating your father. He didn't remain in the clan. Sima Yu sighed. What? Tao Yixian exclaimed softly. The patriarch believed her. He couldn't even call him father anymore and just addressed him as patriarch. It seemed like the very last shred of familiar relations between father and son had disappeared completely. He naturally believed her. He even cherished her in hundreds of ways. Sima Yu said, it sounds like he even sympathizes with you. Sympathy? I don't need it. Tao Yixian said, in the past, there were some things I couldn't look past. Now, I finally see it and it's not a big deal anymore. I just feel like it's unfair for my mother. She saved him and gave him her purity and bore a son for him. In the end, she even threw her life away for him. But what happened in the end? We ended up being a walking target. What do you plan to do next? Sima Yu asked, our deal is just to send you to the position of young master, it doesn't involve dealing with your father. I know. Tao Yixian said, that is why I do not request too much from you. However, if I am able to become the patriarch, I will have access to even more resources and I will be better able to help you locate your master and teacher. And so? I merely wish for you to ensure my safety. Tao Yixian said. Sima Yu shrugged, what difference is there? Of course. If I were merely to take the position of young master, it would be a lot less difficult. If I want to overthrow him and assume the position of patriarch, it will be a lot more difficult. It will also be a lot more dangerous. In the same way, the things you will have to do will become even more dangerous. Is there anything you haven't told me? Sima Yu crossed her arms over her chest, looking him dead in the eye. You're very confident. So, you have something you haven't yet told me. You even realized this. Tao Yixian said, many years ago, I already sensed the danger. That is why I have been collecting some materials. As long as I make it known to the masses, even the position of patriarch will become unstable. Even if you overthrow him, there are many people who are able to assume that position. Do you think you will be able to succeed? Sima Yu said. I have my own arrangements. Tao Yixian said, I initially planned to drag him down with me when I died, but I didn't think that I would be able to use this one day. I actually can't look down on you. Sima Yu looked at him deeply, if not because your father backstabbed you, you would not have landed up like this, would you? For a young child who had such a difficult life to have soundlessly grasped solid evidence meant that she had actually been underestimating him all this time. Tao Yixian returned her look, relax, I will not act against you. I don't care whether or not you will act against you. Sima Yu said, in any case, I won't be staying here for long and don't have any conflict of interest with you. If you really want to act against me. She didn't finish speaking and gave him a pointed look as she turned around to leave. Since you said that, does that mean our new deal has been established? Sima Yu just walked to the door when she heard what he said. She waved her hand and walked out with large strides. Tao Yixian smiled. Her meaning was obvious. He knew her background, so would he dare touch her? Whether he dared to or not, was going to or not, was willing to or not. There was a huge difference in them all. On the second day, Tao Yixian got out of bed. After his strength and body had recovered, he wanted to leave but he was pulled down by Sima Yu and Great Master Ji. Just based on your current appearance, people will find out once you walk out that door. You won't even need 10 minutes before you're captured. Great Master Ji stabbed his weak point without hesitation. Tao Yixian remained standing where he was. His hand clenched then relaxed. After taking a few deep breaths, he finally calmed down. It's not like you can't go look for your foster father. Sima Yu said, but what will you do after you find him? The sky is still bright, are you really going to confront him directly? But if I don't go see him, I won't be able to let it go. Tao Yixian said. So what about this? You just have to see him, right? It's just that you first have to change the way you look. Sima Yu examined him, I think you won't be able to do something like this. Tao Yixian initially felt curious as to how she changed the way she looked. If she wanted him to change his look so thoroughly, that would definitely be impossible. Then we can only use the second method. What method? Great Master Ji asked. Tie him up and bring him over. I'm guessing that this shouldn't be a problem for Great Master Ji at all, right? Great Master Ji. Although he was speechless, it was a formula for a poison that has been lost in time. It was late, but he still brought the person over. Sima Yu didn't care how he brought him over. She looked at the person lying on the ground and he really looked, barely passable. Tao Yixian clenched his fists when he saw him. Old Ji, wake him up. Sima Yu said. Old Ji took out a small pill and fed it to him. Then he stood up and the both of them left the room, leaving only Tao Yixian alone with his foster father. Before they left, Sima Yu even helped him set up a barrier. Great Master Ji and herself stood in the courtyard. They couldn't hear what was happening inside and didn't know whether he was angry or hurting. What do you think? How do you think that kid will deal with his foster father? Great Master Ji felt like after being with her, he started to become interested in things apart from poison. I think that he won't let him off easily. Sima Yu said, as to how he will deal with him, it will depend on whether or not he still treasures all those years of affection. You really want to help him ascend to the role of patriarch? Great Master Ji raised his head and looked at her. How much of a difference is there? Sima Yu smiled at Great Master Ji, it's all the same in the end. This old bag of bones is really being toyed around endlessly by you. Great Master Ji said. Old Ji, if you have nowhere else to go, you can always go to Heartbreak Valley. There are many poisonous animals there and you can always research them if you want something to do. Sima Yu said as she tossed him a token, there's a lot of freedom in there. As long as you make a small oath upon entering that you will not do anything to endanger the valley, that will do. What kind of power is that? Great Master Ji took the token. One that I'm rather familiar with. Sima Yu told him a rough idea about what the situation was and told him that, if he really went there, he could look for Shiman Feng to arrange a place for him that he would like. When Great Master Ji heard about such a wonderful place, his heart was moved. However, he was used to life in the Tao clan. If it wasn't that he couldn't continue to live here, he probably had no plans to move in the meantime. Then I'll keep this for now. I might be able to use it one day. Great Master Ji chuckled as he kept the token away. So what do you plan to do next? What do you need me to do? You don't have to do anything else. You have to continue living in the Tao clan in the future, so you shouldn't involve yourself in the next steps. Great Master Ji was stunned, she was not letting him participate at this point in time. Time? The thing we're going to do this time will definitely create turmoil in the Tao clan. If you involve yourself too much, you won't have a good footing in the Tao clan anymore. You've never stuck yourself to a particular side before, so if you don't involve yourself in this, whoever ascends next time will not say anything to you. Sima Yu said. Great Master Ji's heart pounded. He opened his mouth but he felt like his throat was rather choked up. Alright, let's not bother about him anymore. Let's carry on with our own things. Sima Yu said as she returned to her own house. Great Master Ji watched as she walked away, smiling silently. His smile was not like his usual icy one, neither was it gentle. Instead it was a joyful one that seemed to rise from the bottom of his heart. Children nowadays. He sighed, forget it, this old man will just go ahead and research that antidote. Sima Yu didn't know what Tao Yi Xian said to his father. She only knew that he later asked her for liquid to dissolve a corpse. When he exited, he said, I made it quick. At the very least, he didn't lose his conscience in his hatred. That was still alright. There were still 3 more days until the Tao clan's grand assembly. Sima Yu brought Tao Yi Xian away in the middle of the night. She was unable to help him with what he needed to do, neither was she able to intervene nor did she want to. One thing that she wanted to do now was to look for the ancestor of the Tao clan on the day of the grand assembly. Then, she just had to make sure that he didn't die on that day. 3 days passed by in a flash. The Tao clan's grand assembly began on the morning of that day. She just appeared when she saw Great Master Tao standing below the corridor. Old Ji, I'm indebted to your care these few days. Sima Yu handed him a pill and smiled lightly, mine is a lot gentler than yours, you won't even feel it when your poison is cured. Humph, that's because this old man intentionally made it so. Great Master Ji took the antidote and ate it. The blockage inside him slowly faded away. You, be careful. I will. Sima Yu said. If you find any good things later on, you have to share them with the younger generation. Same to you. You always have such faith in me. Sima Yu walked out of the courtyard. As she walked, she instructed Thousand Resonance to transform and revert to his original appearance. She turned back around and the sunlight reflected off her body. Old Ji, you have to remember my real appearance clearly. In the future, if you go to the valley, you can't be unable to recognize what I look like. I'm leaving, see you. Great Master Ji knew that Sima Yu never used her real appearance the whole time she was here. However, he was still shocked by her sudden change. He remained the way until she returned to her previous look and left the courtyard before he came back to his senses. Master, how did Big Sister Yu do that? The child looked on with eyes filled with respect, eyes round and wide. You can ask her once you've grown up. Great Master Ji clapped his hands that were on his legs and went into the research room. These few days had just been a minor episode in his life. Right now, his life had to return to normal. It was just that it suddenly felt a little cold. After Sima Yu left Great Master Ji's courtyard, she meandered left and right, avoiding some guards as she headed north the whole way. After leaving their courtyard, she fused again with Thousand Resonance and returned to her original appearance. She even changed her servant girl uniform. She hadn't rested at all these few days as she kept a constant eye on the Tao clan situation. With the map that Boatman Tua had given her along with the efforts of her Scarlet Bees these few days, she had a perfect grasp on every single pathway and when which pathway would have patrols and so on. She avoided the guards and didn't meet a single person all the way until she arrived at the mountain behind her courtyard. When she arrived at the foot of the mountain, she was in no rush to climb it. Instead, she looked back in the direction of the Tao clan's public square. It was initially extremely noisy, but had already quietened down. It should be that Tao Yi Xian had led his men and appeared. It seems like we have to hurry up. She muttered as she turned around, walking up the mountain. Halt. 2 guards blocked her midway, stopping her from proceeding forward. Sima Yu took a look at their strength and 2 elders from the Egret clan appeared behind her. I'll leave them to the 2 of you. She instructed the 2 elders. Young miss, you just have to proceed forward. The elder said as he began fighting with the guard. Sima Yu continued walking on but before she reached the top of the mountain, a few more people flew over. Sima Yu called out the elders from inside her spirit pagoda and continued walking forward. Who are you? Sima Yu lifted her head and looked at the person standing on the boulder in front of her, saying, I'm someone looking asking for directions. Previous. The man furrowed his eyebrows. Asking for directions? Directions to which place? No matter who you are, this is a place where our ancestor is in seclusion. Hurry and retreat. He ordered. How communicative. Sima Yu smiled. If you weren't afraid that I would cause a scene that would make the ancestor come out of seclusion, would you speak so civilly to me? What do you mean? Exactly what I said. There's no need for you to advise me to leave. I have come here today to meet the ancestor. Let's just act. She was too lazy to waste words as she called out her beasts from the spirit pagoda. At this time, a group of people flew down from the mountain. Sima Yu didn't think that they would actually have so many people lying in wait here. It seemed like these people were preventing others from getting close to the ancestor to tell him any information. It was no wonder Tao Yixian's men were all trapped in here. This ambush was one that they would not be able to cross without a bit of strength. However, there were so many opponents. She was not anxious as she called out Sima Lu Xian and the others. She was the weakest of them all as they surrounded her in the center, not allowing her to act. This made her feel rather helpless. There was such a big commotion but the ancestor couldn't hear anything. Why did he not have a single bit of reaction? The activity on this side was meticulously kept away from the public square. As for this side, they had no bandwidth to think about those things. That was because, when the younger generation of the clan were competing, the young master who had betrayed them and went missing had returned. He had not only returned, but he took out evidence that proved his innocence. He took out the evidence that he had obtained personally. One of them included information that the matriarch had conspired with outsiders to obtain the Tao clan's property. He even listed the names of many others in important positions. The Great Assembly today was for the purpose of testing the younger generation of the clan, as well as for them to display their powers before the clan. Tao Yixian had appeared in front of everyone and even brought along evidence, so it was obviously impossible even if they wanted to kill him. Both sides were in a deadlock. Sima Yu looked at the sky. She had tarried here for too long. She looked towards the mountain peak and she slowly disappeared in midair, but not a single person on the battlefield noticed. By the time she appeared again, she was on the other side of the mountain. She looked at the barrier in front of her. It was no wonder the ancestor didn't hear such a huge commotion. It turned out that there was a barrier present. If Little Roar was around, she would have directly called him out and fused with him. Then, it would be easy for her to enter the barrier. However, now that he wasn't around, she couldn't use this method. She thought for a while before finally calling forth her spirit energy and attacked the barrier. The ancestor, who was in his stone room in seclusion, naturally sensed that someone was attacking his barrier. His expression turned solemn and his eyes filled with rage. He wanted to see just which child was so brazen. Tao clan's ancestor, I heard that you were not in strict seclusion. In that case, you should be able to hear me, right? If you take any longer to come out, Tao Yixian is going to die. Tao clan's ancestor's body that was initially as still as a boulder immediately stood up. Sima Yu quickly saw the stone room open and a slender and tall man walked out from inside. Who are you? Tao clan's ancestor asked. Don't bother about who I am for now, I am merely someone that Tao Yixian has entrusted to come and meet you. Sima Yu stretched forth a hand and pointed at the public square, saying, in order to see you, I used a lot of effort. My people won't be able to hold on much longer. The Tao clan ancestor's expression grew stern as he kept his barrier. With a flash, he flew into the air and yelled at those people, halt. The Tao clansmen saw the patriarch of the Tao clan and couldn't help but break out into cold sweat. They stopped involuntarily. As for the others, they saw Sima Yu remain silently by his side without saying anything, so they stopped as well. The Tao clan ancestor saw the battle scene and understood at once. He was so enraged that his aura immediately burst forth. You are all extremely bold. Sima Yu felt his powerful aura and retreated backwards. She reminded him, these people are just the small fries, you have the time to deal with them when you return. However, if you don't make it there in time, Tao Yixian might be dead by then. She was right because all of them heard sounds of battle coming from the public square. Humph. With a wave of his long sleeves, those people from the Tao clan were rooted where they were. When Sima Yu saw this move, her eyes widened and her mouth dropped open. Too amazing. Tao clan's ancestor ignored her shocked look and directly flew towards the public square. Yu, let's go as well. Han Miao Shuang said. Where to? Sima Yu was currently examining how the Tao clan's ancestor had managed to paralyze these people and subconsciously asked. Take a look at the situation over where Tao Yixian is. Han Miao Shuang said, didn't you say that you had to guarantee his safety? Aren't you going to take a look? Oh, his ancestor has already gone, so what danger would there be? We've already done the dangerous work. He had evidence in his hands and with the help of the ancestor, as long as his evidence was solid enough, then the situation today was even more likely to go according to plan. Compared to things over there, she was even more interested in what had happened here. Han Miao Shuang watched as she circled around those people and pulled on her hand, saying, you can examine these people once everything is over. Let's head over there. Sima Yu was dragged away and reluctantly followed after her. Before she left, she remembered to keep away her spirit beasts and egret clan elders. When they arrived at the public square, the situation was almost at its end. No matter how exciting the battle was before, the moment the ancestor acted, not a single person was able to run a single step. It was only with this evidence that the ancestor was able to appear. This was the reason why Sima Yu called the Tao clan's ancestor for Tao Yixian. If he had no evidence, then she would not have invited him, but she would have thought of a way to ensure that he didn't find out about what happened today. Evil creature, what are you doing? She is your mother. You dare to exterminate her? Your younger brother is still inside her. Patriarch Tao's roar was heard from far away, and they heard what he said even before they arrived in the plaza. Younger brother? I'm just afraid that Patriarch doesn't really feel that he is my younger brother, but that he is your only son. Tao Yixian sneered. What, do you think I spoke in error? Unfilial son. Patriarch Tao wanted to catch Tao Yixian, but he was stopped by the person beside him. I hit the nail on the head. Tao Yixian avoided him. I was inflicted with 100 flora worm poison and people chased after me trying to kill me. As my father, not only did you not look for me, but you even got rid of the antidote for my 100 flora worm poison. Oh, no. I can't say that you didn't look for me because you sent the Tang clan, and I was chased by the Tang clansmen all the way to Rabbit Ear Mountain where I was almost killed. So it can be considered that you did find me. When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but suck in a breath. A father chased his son trying to kill him? Was this something the head of a clan should have done? What rubbish are you spouting? That someone who is able to move you and is able to take your token to Great Master GE for the poison, apart from the one whom you sleep beside, who else could it be? You even protect that person when you know about their betrayal of the clan. Father, how will you give an account to our clansmen? Tao Yixian spoke each word clearly. Previous chapter. As Tao Yixian spoke, everyone around them gasped. If it were any ordinary crime, then it was fine that he had shielded her. However, to betray the clan was a huge sin. How were they supposed to tolerate it? Sima Yu didn't think that Tao Yixian would be able to get a hold of this type of evidence. It seemed like she really had underestimated him. No, she had always held his views in high regard. It was just that he kept acting out of her expectation. This was a man who schemed well. It's a good thing we won't interact that much. She muttered in a small voice. We've all been deceived by him. We thought that he was a cute little boy, but we didn't think that he would be an old piece of meat. This type of person really knows how to disguise as a pig who eats a tiger. However, once he sees a need to stop concealing himself, he's like a dragon in shallow waters. He won't be able to be contained. He's really scheming. If he's able to become the patriarch but doesn't honor our deal, what do we do? He won't. Sima Yu said confidently. Junior sister, let me tell you. Do not be deceived by the outward appearance of man. Han Miao Shuang hooked her arm around her neck. The more handsome they appear, the badder they are. Really? The first time I met eldest senior brother, I felt like he was pretty handsome, Sima Yu beamed as she shot a glare at Jiang Junxian, who narrowed his eyes and glared at Han Miao Shuang. Han Miao Shuang stretched out both hands and directly covered his eyes, huffing, did I not speak the truth? Could it be that you want me to say that the more handsome a guy is, the more reliable he is? If I believe this, would I still be with you? Wouldn't I run off with every new man I see? Jiang Junxian pulled her hand down and glared at her, threatening, you dare? So am I right? Han Miao Shuang smiled, very arrogant. Right. You're very right. Apart from me. Everyone. This was the first time Sima Yu saw Jiang Junxian acting this way. It was true that being in love really lowered one's IQ. Once we find master, let's get married. Jiang Junxian said. When did I promise to marry you? Han Miao Shuang wanted to pull her hands away but he held it in a death grip and she couldn't pull it away. Even if you don't agree, you have to agree. Jiang Junxian was very forceful. No way. Han Miao Shuang huffed. Sima Yu shook her head as she listened to this. Who proposed in this manner? Eldest senior brother didn't understand these things. I say, if you are both going to have a lover's quarrel, could you do it somewhere else in a different place? She couldn't help but remind them. If this went on, they were going to be discovered. Han Miao Shuang only now recalled that it wasn't just the two of them as his face turned red. It's all your fault. She glared at Jiang Junxian. Senior sister, there's a good show to watch. It's the highlight. The moment Han Miao Shuang heard that there was a good show to watch, it immediately caught her attention and she didn't care about Jiang Junxian anymore. In the public plaza, Patriarch Tao was standing in front of his matriarch, such that the elders were even more enraged because of it. They wanted to remove him from his position as the patriarch and accept Tao Yixian in front of everyone. Xia Yu and the others thought that many people would jump out and protest, but for whatever reason, those old men had actually agreed with each other. It seemed like they had been threatened by Tao Yixian somehow, or they had been bribed. As for the younger generation, although they had opinions, when they saw that their ancestor and the elders did not speak, how could they dare to stand out? Father. Tao Yixian took 2 steps forward. Mother betrayed the clan and colluded with others, harming the interest of the clan. We have to take her down today. You dare? Patriarch Tao yelled, you unfilial son, if you dare to touch a single strand of hair on her, you will first have to go past my dead body. Father, she has let you down. She doesn't deserve your protection at all. No matter what you say, she is my wife. Although Patriarch Tao knew that his sin was unpardonable, he could not bear to abandon her. Father, do you think that she still treats you the same as before? You're not in her heart at all. Tao Yixian cried out. What nonsense are you saying? Your father is the only one in my heart. The matriarch knew that her only path out of this was via her husband, so she held on firmly to his hand without letting go. When you speak, do you not find it shameful? Tao Yixian asked, looks like you won't weep until you see your coffin. Bring that person here. Go. Go over. 2 guards brought a man to the public square, and that person came over unsteadily, falling flat on his face. When they saw that man, Patriarch Tao's expression was one of confusion while the matriarch was given a huge shock. Why have you brought the divine doctor? Patriarch Tao asked. Father, this divine doctor. Do you still remember him? Tao Yixian threw a question back to him in reply. I naturally remember him. It was this very doctor who treated his body. How could he not remember? If not for him, how could his wife have become pregnant again? A few months ago, there was someone who bumped into him as people were trying to kill him. That person saved him but found out something very shocking. Tao Yixian looked deeply at him when he spoke up to this point. What? This news cannot come from me. Tao Yixian said, you should let the divine doctor tell you himself. Tell me, what is it? Patriarch Tao, save me. The divine doctor suddenly cried out. Save you? Who wants to kill you? Patriarch Tao seemed to have sensed something, but he was not willing to believe it. It's matriarch. She has sent men to kill me to silence me. The divine doctor wailed, I was completely unable to cure your hidden injury, but she forced me to say that I managed to treat you. Initially, she was the one who found me and gave me lots of benefits. It's only then that I suppressed my conscience to deceive you. Because I was completely unable to cure you, I dared not stay within the Tao clan. I didn't think that people would keep trying to murder me once I left the Tao clan. I almost died many times. Patriarch Tao was floored by the divine doctor's statement. His expression changed again and again. Divine doctor, are you mistaken? My wife is obviously pregnant. How could it be that you didn't manage to treat me? I speak the truth. Madam has long had an illicit affair with someone else. She has just been deceiving you all along. Divine doctor said, if you don't believe me, I can swear to it. All I said just now was true. If I had really managed to treat you, then I would be in hell for all eternity. After he made his vow, he still stood there completely well. This proved that his words were true. That meant. Everyone looked over to Patriarch Tao and his matriarch. You tell me, what is going on? Patriarch Tao was affected heavily by this attack and his eyes were bloodshot. He looked absolutely terrifying. My lord. The matriarch had been terrified by this and subconsciously took 2 steps backwards. I don't need you to say anything. You just need to make a vow as well. If the child in your womb is not mine, you will fall into the depths of hell forever. Patriarch Tao found out through gritted teeth. Vow? Did she dare? The answer was obvious. She dared not at all. My lord. Make the vow. Vow that the child in your womb is mine. Vow that you didn't do anything that disappointed me at all. Patriarch Tao roared. I can't. I can't. Matriarch shook her head and walked backwards. When they saw her acting this way, who didn't understand? The matriarch had really let the patriarch put on a bright green hat. Who is the adulterer? I can't say. Matriarch was flustered as she continued to retreat backwards. She was unstable and directly fell on the ground. You can't say? Could it be that you still want me to guess? Patriarch Tao's expression was even fiercer. He stepped forwards and grabbed her neck, lifting her up directly. Let go. The matriarch grabbed his arms with both hands, but she couldn't move them at all. I treated you with such sincerity, snubbed my son for a few hundreds of years. The moment you said you didn't want to see him, I sent him to the most dangerous place to cultivate and disallowed Himi from taking a single step into our courtyard. You sent men to poison him and when I knew that he didn't die, I directly went to obtain the antidote for you and destroyed it. You betrayed the clan and I grabbed the position of patriarch in order to protect you. But you cheated on me. Tell me, what should I do to you now? Don't. I was wrong. Cough. Wrong? Can a single word make it up to me? We were childhood sweethearts who journeyed together until now. Where did I not satisfy you that you went to flirt around outside? You shameless slut. Sima Yu smiled bitterly when she heard what Tao Yixian's father said. I've seen a shameless person before, but not one as shameless as you. A failure of a man will always push his faults onto someone else. Even his disgusting deeds can sound righteous from his mouth. Junior sister, what do you mean? Han Miaoshuang asked. Although Tao Yixian's father did not want to kill Tao Yixian in the beginning, when he knew that Tao Yixian had escaped after being poisoned, not only did he not send people to rescue him, but he went to Old Ji to take the antidote. Then, he even sent men to kill him. That was because he felt threatened by Tao Yixian. Now, he makes it sound so nice, that he did it all for the sake of his woman. It's just an excuse. Now that I see it, he doesn't really like his wife all that much. Sima Yu's expression was mocking. These types of mind should be pulled down to the depths of hell. Han Miaoshang spat hatefully. Indeed. There's no meaning anymore. If you guys want to stay here then continue watching. I'm going back to the inn. Sima Lu Xian and the others never had an interest in this. They had only come to accompany her. Now, she wanted to leave so there was no they naturally left as well. Han Miaoshuang and the others all left because the exciting part of the show had already passed. There was nothing nice to watch at the back, so he left as well. However, Sima Yu said that this place was still the Tao clan after all, so she couldn't show off too much. After keeping everyone away into the spirit pagoda, she exited. Then, she went to a place where nobody was before releasing them. Because of the Tao clan's great assembly, there were relatively more people in the city. Hence, it was rather difficult to find an inn. It was a good thing that Guainda and the others had already found a good room in an inn for them to stay in when she came. It was already almost night by the time Guainda and the others returned. They saw the people sitting in the hall and were momentarily stunned. You have returned. He walked over and greeted her. That's right. Guainda, why have you returned so late? Sima Yu stood up and told them to sit down. Isn't it because of those things? Guainda said as she sighed, I really didn't think that things would twist and turn to this state. Uncle Gua, I heard that the others have all returned to the clan quite early. Why have you returned so late? Han Miaoshuang asked. They left earlier, but Patriarch kept us behind. That is, our previous young master. Guainda replied. His voice was happy, so it seemed like it was a good thing that Tao Yixian had kept them behind. Sima Yu was not surprised. Tao Yixian was currently in need of people, and his relationship with the Gua clan was pretty good. With what happened back at Rabbit Ear Mountain, he also knew that the Gua clan was on his side. How could he not use them? Then I have to congratulate you all. In the future, the Gua clan situation will get better and better. Hee. Guainda chuckled sheepishly. Uncle Gua, what happened after that? We saw the previous patriarch getting cheated on. Then? Did they catch them? Hao Miaoshuang gossiped. That. Guainda looked around before ascertaining that there was nobody there before saying, they did catch him. Of course they did. Not only him, but they also caught the currently unconscious Second Master Tao. Second Master Tao? Why did they catch him? Of course, that, you guys know it. Sima Yu blinked, suddenly understanding. You're saying that Second Master Tao and his mother, the two of them. Han Miaoshuang cried out with shock. Her hands flew to cover her mouth. It's enough that you know it, why did you have to say it out loud? Guainda was awkward. Sima Yu smiled, I really didn't think that someone would actually be willing to have an affair with someone like Second Master Tao. I wonder what expression Tao Yixian's father would have had if he heard it. However, isn't Second Master Tao still unconscious? They caught him and locked him away. They didn't. They just directly told Great Master Ji that there was no need to treat him. They would let him sleep for all eternity. Since Tao Yixian became the patriarch, did those people reject? With Ancestor around, who would dare to say anything? Guainda recalled how the Ancestor leveled an entire area with a single wave of his hand and his eyes shone with reverence. Even if that's the case, it won't be easy if he wants to take control of the entire clan. I wonder if he will still be able to fulfill his side of the deal when the time comes. Han Miaoshuang asked. It was hard for Sima Yu to guess. She didn't know when Tao Yixian would be able to control the Tao clan and when he would have the ability to fulfill his end of the bargain. With the Ancestor around, it probably wouldn't take that long. Also, he was so brilliant and his schemes ran deep. If those people really wanted to battle him, it was unknown who would win in the end. Let's just wait. In any case, the name Jades of Master and the others are still pretty well. We can still afford to wait a few days. She said. They continued chatting for a while, then everyone returned. Quite a few Gua clansmen had come. Apart from the few rooms that Sima Yu and the others had, they took up the rest of the rooms. Before Guainda left, he said that he would go and prepare for the later part of the Tao clan's grand assembly. He said that the assembly had to go on. However, what was different was that the clan could send men to attend as well. As long as they had the talent for it, they could also receive nurturing from the clan. Sima Yu secretly thought that this guy really knew how to build up his reputation. To do this at this point in time would be extremely beneficial in pulling people over to his side.